Honor and respects, lujo y progreso. This is Sancista Brujo Luis. So today I'm just going to be doing a book review on this one is overdue, 2 years overdue. Dictionary of Ancient Magic Words and Spells, which was published around 2-3 years ago. And this one, The Wicked Shall Decay. So the first one that I want to review is definitely this one, because this one is already, it was published first in 2015. I wanted to do a review a while back. I never got a chance to. It's just one of those books that I completely forgot. It is published or compiled by Claude Lecouteux, and I probably butchered that. It is called Dictionary of Ancient Magic Spells. From Abraxas to the Zoar. It is a hardback book, really beautiful book. It's got around 420 pages. It has a dust jacket. I just want to show you it's just a brown book, just the lettering. So this one came out 2015. One of those books that I completely forgot to review. It's easier to do this with two hands, and I'm just recording with one hand. So this came out in 2015. It's already 2018. I completely forgot to review it. And it's a summer, a book that you could read in the summer. Not something that, if you've seen most of my videos, and most of my videos I talk about grimoires, really thick grimoires. It is summertime, something that's light to read, something that's simple to read. This is a really beautiful book. I love this book. It compiles a lot of written and spoken spells from many grimoires, from many cultures. Coptic Egyptian magic. There is Greco-Hellenic magic in here. Really beautiful. And most of this stuff you will find in a lot of the older, ancient, more profound grimoires. But this is just a dictionary, something that you just look up, and you can see this is from the Magus right there. But you can definitely look up. It's got beautiful pictures throughout the book. And it says words that possess powers, explains a little bit about that. Now, mind you, this is from, what is it, the Renaissance, or most of the magic here is from the Renaissance, or from the, there's a lot of Christian magic, a lot of Christian influence in this. So if you're not into the Christian magic, this book will definitely not be for you. It's got a lot of beautiful pictures throughout the book. As you can see, it starts with A, and then it just goes on to different spoken and written spells. Really gorgeous. A lot of the spells cannot be used today, but it's just a book, a really beautiful book that you can read during the summer, just to get a little bit of history on how people use magic in the European world. And it's got some beautiful image throughout the book. Sorry about that. I think every page almost has a beautiful, well, some do not. Let me get you the ones that have pictures. So many of the spells you will see are in Latin or in Greek. And they come from other ancient grimoires that he cites at the end of the book. A lot of the spells are in Latin and in Greek. I think some Italian as well. And they're all alphabetically comprised, I guess is the word. It is just a really beautiful book just to have in your library. And I definitely recommend it if you are not bothered with a lot of Christian influence. Then you will definitely love this book. This book, a lot of modern people who practice magic will not find it useful, as this is not a book to find a parking spot or anything like that. This is just a study of how magical seals, magical words, sigils were used traditionally in a period of magic. So let me just keep going further so you can just see at least the pages of interest. Really beautiful book to have. I'm trying to find the pages with the pictures. For you. See how this was used in different forms of metals. They would inscribe that into metals as a charm, something that a person would use. This one I use during the coming of the new year. Actually, is this the one? Yeah, this is the one. To bless the house, to protect the house. Yeah, it's right there. It's described in there. I still actually use that. Every New Year's I do that. So you can see the imagery is beautiful. I don't know if my phone, you see the flashing. I would definitely recommend this if you like to collect grimoires or just want a book on alphabetical order where you could just find it. There's no deep philosophy. It is just the spoken or the written, how it would be written or how it would be spoken. And just a quick dictionary of the spells. So let me just keep going through the pages. So if you've seen most of my videos, you will notice that I've always had an interest and a love of collecting grimoires. It's just something that I've always loved, and how magic or people used magic in their cultures. A lot of those grimoires for beginners are really confusing. Many people will get confused. This is something that one of the seals that I use a lot. A lot of people will get confused by these heavy tomes, these grimoires that are filled with philosophy and astrology, and they get lost. I always tell people, just get a little simple dictionary and get your feet wet. You know, a lot of people think that they can open up an ancient grimoire and just start practicing what is in these books. In actuality, a lot of that is very dangerous, and I would never recommend that. But I definitely recommend getting your feet wet and having an understanding or a knowledge of how they may have used these seals, how they may have used these certain seals, these certain spoken words, or how they would inscript these magical words into metals or talismans or charms or amulets. Again, right here, this is the Sacred Cross. You will see that a lot of the spells in here have a lot of Christian magic that a lot of neo-pagans would definitely not find interesting. But I think a lot of Latinos or Hispanic brujos would definitely enjoy this book. So I definitely recommend it if you study spells and magic, as I do. It's a really beautiful, beautiful book. Oftentimes in modern paganism or Wicca, you will see a lot of them incorporate like these runes right here. They will incorporate this into their magical practices. So I definitely highly recommend this beautiful book. It first came out in 2015. It is still I still found it in hardback, so definitely pick it up, check it out. It is alphabetical order. It's something that you just pick up in the summer, and it's not a thick grimoire. That I usually do those reviews more in the autumn than I do so in the summer. You know, when the days are shorter. These are some magical runes. Magic runes right there. There's another seal. You know, those heavier grimoires I recommend more for the fall or when the days are shorter and you have more time in your hand. Summer's out. You should be out enjoying life and just carrying one of those simple books that you just, you're in a subway or something and you just want a quick reading. Then this book I definitely recommend. It is beautiful. And a lot of this you will see in a lot of Hispanic brujeria. So if you use a lot of these seals in your Hispanic brujeria or magical practices, get to know or learn the origin of where these spells may have come from. Where did these prayers come from? Well, how did they use them in the Renaissance and the Victorian era and all those eras before that? So I definitely recommend this book. I mean, it's 450 pages. And we're going on to O's now. He cites from where he gets them, what grimoires he has gotten most of these spells, of course. Here are some magical squares, the famous Satyr square, still used today. Breaking down of the Satyr square. Just wanted to show you some of the beautiful pictures within this book. And it's only 450 pages. I'm going to check it at the end of the video. Make sure. There's a picture of El Gran Grimorio del Papa Honorio. I find a better way to review books. I mean, it's chocked full of beautiful imagery that you will see even today used in a lot of modern magic. How it was used in the olden days. You'll see a lot of similarity between a lot of voodoo and, what they use in Caribbean magic. How it was used in European magic. So a lot of sigils and seals. And I highly recommend it. It's such a really, for one's collection, it's such a really beautiful book to have. It's not a thick grimoire of ancient knowledge and wisdom. It's just basically a dictionary that if you see a seal, you can just look it up, or a magical word that you don't understand, you can look it up. Everything from abracadabra to the Satyr squares in here. And it's just really beautiful. Here's some more rooms. Here's a bunch of different collections of different runes. List of magical words appearing in spells, which is this section. There are some Latin incantations in here. It is just really a gorgeous little book. I have a lot of grimoires. I really didn't need this because I pretty much have all the grimoires that have this. But this is just one of those. I don't want to carry those big grimoires all over the place or whatever. So this is just one of those books that has 420 pages, and it's just easier, to carry around. Hardback. You can get this at Amazon.com. Check on Barnes and Nobles. I definitely recommend it. I don't remember the price. I will check the price for you, but definitely check this book. I love it. It's a really beautiful book. In the beginning of the video, I said that many of these spells cannot be used today, but they can be incorporated. There are spells for healing cattle or stuff like that necessarily the modern person will not necessarily have to go through. But you will see that much of these spells are used a lot today. These sigils, these charms, these magical words, whether they are in Latin or Greek. I mean, it is just a beautiful book. It's $28, I think it was. If I'm mistaken, I'm so sorry. You can pick this up definitely at Amazon.com, at Barnes & Noble's, hardback, 420 pages, all his books. I recommend all his books. They're just really beautiful books. So definitely check out this one, Claude Lecouteux. I'm not even going to say that last name, but Dictionary of Ancient Magical Words and Spells, from the Abraxas to the Zoar. So the next book that I want to review is The Wicked Shall Decay, which I love that title. Charms, Spells, and Witchcraft of Old Britain. A gathering of historical enchantments against foul spirits and maledictions, compiled with an introduction by A.D. Mercer. This one is paperback. You can also pick it up at Barnes & Noble's or I guess Amazon.com. I'm not sure if there's a hardcover. I didn't care to get this one hardcover. Beautiful little book. This one just came out this year, 2018, as we're speaking. While this one, the first one that I reviewed, is 420 pages. I think this one is way less, coming in at what, one? I forgot. Of course, it's not going to tell me. Okay, I think what 150. So, anyways, beautiful book. I love it. This is the spells that you would see in old Britain or in England, Cornwall, maybe Cornish magic, and it does have a lot of Christian influence. So I just want to let neo-pagans understand that this is something that you would see charmers and the cunning folk of Cornish magic would use. Again, it is a beautiful book with a lot of this historical magic, spells, charms, and incantation. It tells you how to use the book. Beautiful woodcuts, historical woodcuts throughout the book. And I just want to show you most of the imagery within the book. I just want to show you some of the spells. A powerful charm, contracting the evil eye to be said out loud. Okay, and you will see that a lot of the spells are very Christian based. So just putting that out there. A lot of neo-pagan traditions, maybe Wicca, would not so much find these books helpful. But they are part of history. You know, you can't. A lot of people want to separate Christianity from witchcraft. They go hand in hand throughout history, and they will always be intertwined. Even today, it's just a different way of how it's intertwined. They want to remove it from the history, but it is part of the history of witchcraft. Whether it was through the witch trials or whatever it may be, it will always be intertwined. A lot of the old witches, they had to survive. They had to adapt and use the religion of the time, the strongest religion of the time within their magic. So that is why you will see a lot of Christian prayers and incantations. This was similar. You will see this similar in Afro-Caribbean magic, like Santeria, Voodoo, Maria Leonza, of course, Espiritismo. You will see the same thing happen. So it is a really beautiful book. I'm just going to show you some of the pages throughout. This right here is a seal or sigil for Saint Michael, the Archangel. incantations. There's gotta be a better way to flip this book with one hand. Here are some magic squares. All the spells or all the chapters are broken down into certain categories of spells. This one is ghosts and spirits to summon, control, and dispel. And this is the beginning of the book, the context. And you can see it has protection and defense, recovery, revenge, curses, the devil himself. Okay, so here's a really beautiful book. I love books like this for the summer reading. Something that's not so mind-boggling. It's just something that you just pick up and I don't know, you're on an Uber somewhere, or you're in a train somewhere, and you don't want something so thick and heavy and mind-boggling and deep in philosophy and astrology. Something that's just a simple charm and spell book. These two books I definitely recommend. It's got beautiful woodcuts. I love when books, spell books, have these beautiful woodcuts. Something about woodcuts in the spell book, that you got me right there. If you notice, a lot of the reviews that I've done on spell books, if they have woodcuts, old woodcuts, I'm buying it. I'm taking it home. It's just, I love them. I think they're beautiful. Some of the spells cannot be used today. Of course, right here, this one right here, a charm to find a drink. In today's modern society, we have faucets or we have a convenience store. We don't necessarily have to do an enchantment, but you'll see the Christian elements within this incantation for this person to find a drink. Today, we just turn on a faucet, open our refrigerator, or go to our local 7-Eleven or supermarket to find a drink. We don't necessarily have to be chanting out any spells, but it's something that's historical. It's just, I love books like this. I like these way more than modern spell books, which I tend not to buy. Just not my cup of taste. This is the famous, I think, yes, the Abracadabra. The famous Abracadabra. To become a witch. Here's the famous Abracadabra spell. Here are more examples of the infamous Abracadabra. Beautiful sigil right there. As you can see, most of the spells here cannot be used in modern days, unless you live in a farm, I guess. Right there for a horse. The pentagram. So a lot of these, but they're just traditional. They're just, I love books like this because it's like a looking glass back into the past. I've always collected grimoires. Grimoires and spell books, especially the older they are, I just enjoy them. And I highly recommend this book. It's really a beautiful book. Finally, from the Magus, there's a nice, beautiful page. And I think this is the author's, Merrill's hand-drawn version of the Magus, which is right there, and you can see that. This is his own hand drawing of that. And this is the back of the book. So I recommend these books if you enjoy the history of magic, certain periods of magic. Going back in time from a certain age. This would be from the 1700s, 1800s. Beautiful. This one also has Coptic, Egyptian magic, Greco-Roman, Hellenic magic, really beautiful book. I recommend them both. I hope you enjoyed this video. What a beautiful book. Look at that. It's a beautiful book, 450 pages or so. They're both around $28. I recommend all of Claude's books. All of them are really, really good. Really good books. Most all of his books are broken down in dictionary form, and most of them have to do with the arcane, the occult, and magic. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, if you want to see more book reviews, leave comments down below. Hit that like button, subscribe, get these books. If you collect books on magic and spells and you don't mind the Christian elements of it, get these books. I highly recommend them. I still use a lot of these written charms in a lot of my resguardos. Resguardos is what we call in Puerto Rico or in Spanish language like a mojo bag or a grigri bag. I use a lot of these sigils and seals. And one thing I love is that I get to understand a little bit of a lot of these Latin incantations. You know, it breaks it down. A lot of the, of course, I'm not going to find one. A lot of the Latin incantations, what it may mean or symbolize. You know, there are many incantations that are in Latin, and a lot of people don't know what they mean, so it breaks it down. So I definitely recommend these two books. And we'll do future videos on more grimoires that I recommend, more so in the fall. But if you like this video, hit that like button. If you disliked it, of course, hit the dislike, whatever. Share, leave a comment down below, and enjoy the rest of your summer. Sancista Brujo Luis. Ciao.